Good evening, and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. Today is Sunday, February 6th, and we are back for another week of great discussion with a great panel of the Soul Citizen team. I am GriffinGamingRPG, your host, and we are here today to talk about a subject that has come up from time to time, called Solo, a Star Citizen story. Did you guys appreciate that little spin I put on? Okay, y'all didn't care, huh?
Yeah, it's Griffin.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Okay, man. They don't care. All right.
I care.
I care. This is from my far right. We're going to start out with the man himself, fastcart FC. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm fastcart, also an FC. Good to see everybody.
Or are you FC known as fastcart? Which one is it?
I'm both.
You're both? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll stack them next time instead of putting them side by side. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you're lazy, I'm FC. If you're not lazy, I'm fastcart.
Okay.
Because 8 letters versus 2.
Okay, fair enough. And to his left, we have the man from the South, well, Mid-South, because he ain't the South on the panel tonight. He's the Mid-South. GomabATL. What's up, my brother?
Thank you, Griff, for creating an entirely new region of the United States of America.
Well, there's somebody further south than you is all I'm
never
saying.
heard of the Mid-South.
Okay.
Never heard it, but Southwest.
Southwest.
Okay, well, you're in the middle of the South. You're not like South, you know?
Come on, guys. Leave Griffin alone.
I know, they're starting already. Thank you, Reconnaissance, for the gifted sub. To Kelosal. Kelosal, you got a gifted sub. Can you believe that? Somebody subbed you. That's pretty nice.
I show up for the first time in a long time and I get a sub. Thank you so much.
And also thank you. I think his name is GomabATL.
Oh,
for the subscription.
Oh, Gomab did one too. Oh, well, you know what? Whammer don't like to talk when Gomab's up. You know that, right?
Thanks for the subscription.
All right. And last but not least, coming from the deep South, we will mention Kelosal is here tonight. What's up, buddy?
Yes, happy February, Black History Month, happy Lunar New Year, all that good stuff. It's good to be back with you guys for another Pop Goes and We's a moment with Star Citizen. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do the solo bit.
Something's jittery with your audio. I don't know what it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's janky. It got janky. It wasn't janky earlier, but something's like sounding intermittent in and out.
Is it now? Should I probably?
It might be just a chord. It might be just a chord. I don't know. It sounds like a chord thing, but we can hear you. It just sounds a little spooky. We can deal with it. I'd rather have that than lose you. So give us a test. Now we don't hear nothing.
No, we don't hear nothing.
Testing 1 2 testing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we hear. Yeah, it's fine. We'll live with it. Not a problem. Okay. All right, cool. Listen, we are here talking about this subject of Solo, a Star Citizen story, and this has come up before where we've talked about people who are asking the question about what can they do in Star Citizen if they like playing by it. Well, see, I was going to be careful how I say that. People who want to play on their own, and what are the different things that you can do in Star Citizen? Can you even play Star Citizen by yourself? You know, who's that? I'm gonna say it correctly. Like Shinriku. Thank you. Hope I didn't say it too badly. Thank you for the community sub gift. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And let me ask this, all of you, as I'll go down the panel real quick. Kelosal, are you a solo player? Or a group player, or are you kind of, we're going to put it in percentage, like half the time I do this, half the time, or 30%, 70%? How do you play Star Citizen?
I'm a solo player mostly, but I would love to try to get into at least a role play, maybe 70% solo, 30% role play. Okay. Gomab, how about you?
About the same, about 70-30.
70-30, okay. FC?
I'm mostly solo, but you know, whenever someone has me, I'll do multiplayer.
Okay. Citizen Czar, thank you so much for those 5 subs. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. Y'all give some love to Citizen Czar for those 5 gifted subs, and also to Shinritsu. Thank you for the community sub. Okay, so I'd probably say I'm 50-50, to be honest with you. If people are doing something that's kind of fun and cool, I'm willing to jump in and help out and, you know, grab a gun or do something or whatever. But I do enjoy playing on my own. There are some things that I do enjoy doing in the Star Citizen universe. I want to direct you guys' attention to a couple of things. One, we're doing a giveaway tonight. Just so you guys will know, we're set for the month of February during Black History Month. We're going to be giving away what we call a soul pack which is where we're going to give away a Soul Citizen shirt, a Soul Citizen coffee mug, and a Soul Citizen mouse pad, so you could be totally sold out. Get it? fastcart, sold out. So we can be sold out at your computer desk and have all these really cool things there. So we're going to do that.
You've been hanging around me too long, folks. I'm sorry about that.
No, come on. That joke was way better than some of them jokes you be cutting out. I'm sorry. You didn't even catch it when I said it. See?
I caught it. I was just saying.
You just threw it back. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to be doing that giveaway at the end of the show tonight. So we want you guys to kind of hang in with us. And we also got a special presentation that we're going to do that we showed on our Thursday show about Nichelle Nichols. But let's go ahead and jump into the show. Hey, Gigi, see you hanging out there. There's Gigi, one of our team members. Dark Knight's there too. Hey, DK. Okay, so I already asked you guys about solo playing. I wanted to set the ground rules for this as we're talking about solo gameplay in Star Citizen. There are 2 criteria that I use to pick these categories, and you know, I'm sure there'll be people who come up with some other ideas, but just so we could have a focus on the conversation. The 2 things that I picked on were things that are, first of all, that are suggested solo careers. These are things that we're suggesting or we've heard CIG talk about in relation to Star Citizen, things that you'll be able to do in the verse. We're not talking about in the standalone game. We're talking about in the verse, the Star Citizen universe. The second criteria is these subjects were picked based upon ship design, their being optimized or optimal use, and the purpose of the ships. So, for example, you might say, well, yeah, you can haul cargo in a Avenger, Stalker, or not a Stalker, it was the Titan, right? But you could also say, well, I could also haul it in my Connie Andromeda. That's true, but a Connie Andromeda is designed to be a multi-person ship, and you're not using it in the most optimum position if something were to happen, you get attacked or whatever. So we're talking about ships that you can kind of handle as a single player if something were to happen or something comes up, and at the same time ships that are designed for you to play in solo. So I just kind of want to lay that groundwork before we jump right into it. So before we do that, we're going to watch a video. This video was put out by one of our team members, Dig That 32. You guys know Dig. Dig put some well-produced, well-done Star Citizen videos out for the community. And one of the ones he just did a few weeks ago was called "Is Star Citizen for You?" We're going to drop that link into the chat for you, and you guys can check this out later. But we're going to take a small snippet from his video where he talks about a lot of things that you can do in Star Citizen. Some of these things you almost forget about if you've been in the universe for a long time. But we're going to kind of hear what Dig's take is on that. We'll come back and then we're going to jump right into it. So let's check it out. Dig That 32, where are you? All right, video didn't want to start, so I'm going to have to start it manually. Here we go.
He was on live earlier today.
Was he?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, he was.
Here we go. Let's get him going. I don't know why his video didn't want to start.
At the end of the day, alpha game development is for implementing features, not smoothing out the satin sheets to the polish of a finished game. If you understand that, then you should stick around. All this means nada if it's not the game you're looking for, if it's not the type of experience you want to be a part of. Is there enough to do, to see? Is it fun? How's the community? Will they help me out? These are the questions that for the most part only you can answer, but to help you find it, here's what I can tell you. Content-wise, you got several mission types, some legal, some not so much. It's a space game, so you got combat-based missions that'll have you going daka on everything from the smallest racers to big capital ships. Plus, when you're tired of your cheeks being compressed, you can get out the seat and fight on the ground or an EVA. Is boarding a ship and taking down hostiles more your cup of tea? They got it. For one of my giveaways, we took a big refueling ship, parked a space ambulance next to it, then brought in a drop ship full of folks who jumped out, floated, and fought their way to the refueling ship, then fought their way through it to find a hidden object to win the prize. Combat has some variety. Not everybody wants to pull out the pew-pews though, and for that crowd, you might find yourself floating through abandoned space stations, reading logs and trying to recover a lost item. Or you might choose to be a delivery boy instead, picking up packages and dropping them off, or being a mule with some space narcotica. Maybe you take a job destroying illegal product instead. Or you could be useful to other players by responding to medical emergency beacons, making your way to them to either heal them on the spot or getting them onto your ship to take them to a hospital. Sometimes you'll be called on to defend or harass the United Earth Empire in events where you can fight or salvage supplies or both. Sometimes you'll be stealing a bunch of narcotics. Other times you might be breaking through a blockade. Perhaps a relaxing night of mining is more your speed, or space trucking tons of cargo for fun and profit. And that's just some of the structured stuff that's available at this point. You find yourself a buddy or two or an organization and the options expand. Guys like Steel Legacy get out there and hard fly like a boss. You got formation flying squads, groups that take weeks to fly to the star in real time, racers. From time to time I do in-game competitions to win ships or other prizes. There's a lot out there. Until later this year, hopefully, we're all in one star system named Stanton. In Stanton, there are 4 planets, one of which is a gas giant, 12 moons, 4 major cities, over 70 planetary and moon outposts, a prison, 37 space stations and comm arrays, an asteroid belt, several biomes, underground facilities, caves, apartments, bars, shopping, drug labs, hospitals, shelters, and black markets. Then you get into oceans, islands, lakes, crash sites, and other hidden locations. I'm sure there's a ton of other locations I'm not listing, but that's already way more than you could ever visit before the next system comes online next year. It's an overwhelming abundance of sites and places to visit and fly and drive through, and this is just the beginning. You've got a substantial amount of content in the pipeline to look forward to. New gameplay loops like Salvage and data running, creatures like space whales and crab monsters that'll sneak up behind you while you're out there doing your thing, locations like rivers and abandoned capital ships you can assume control of.
Okay, let's kind of start from there. Dig kind of gave us a quick overview of, he talks about what people could do working together, but then he focuses in on that everybody's not necessarily wanting to do combat, that there will be people who will want to do some other things in the game, and he outlines some of those things. Somebody mentioned about, Citizen Azar said that this dude has a voice for making videos. We all appreciate Dig That's voice, trust me. We really love Dig That's voice. Let me jump into the very first career that we're going to hit, and then we're going to go from there. And that's the career of the bounty hunter. Is this one of the careers? I'm going to start with you, fastcart. You have any interest in, any thoughts about bounty hunting? It's not in the game per se. It is in the game a little bit, but not to the fullest extent of itself, right?
Yeah, it's not a career that I'm interested in, but I don't blame people who do want to take this. I'm more of a Care Bear, and so more PvE than PvP. But I just want to say about that video from Dig That. Mm-hmm. This Star Citizen game sounds great. I should give it a try. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, for bounty hunting, no, not for me.
Okay, not for you. Okay, got you. Gomab, how about
Thanks
you?
for the follow.
Any thoughts about bounty hunting? Or I'm sure you've done some in the game before, right?
Oh yeah. So bounty hunting split between PvE and PvP bounty hunting. So you can do PvE bounty hunting without having to fight other players, and that's if you make your way up the ladder and you have the right ships.
Citizens are. Thank you for that community.
He's doing that on purpose to get it on to line it up for when I'm talking. So I'm gonna keep talking. The more I talk, the more subscriptions and followers we're gonna get. Because
thank you, Citizens are. Thank you.
No. Next time, Roger. I got you. All right. No, but you could do it. It's a great way to make money. If you just want to, shoot the NPCs. Mm-hmm. I do that. That's part of what I do, whether it be the in space ones that have the in atmo, or the ones that are in like bunkers or caves. I don't really like the caves that much. They take way too long, and the juice just ain't worth the squeeze. But other than that, in the player bounty hunting, not really interested in trying to hunt down other players. Especially when they can just run away or combat log, and you can just waste all your time anyways.
Okay. Kelosal, in light of the Mandalorian and bounty hunting becoming a big thing now, what's the deal with solo playing Star Citizen and bounty hunting? Because I know you've had that happen before. You've told me stories about you went after players and they kind of disappeared on you.
Yeah, I mean, there are things. I mean, you just don't have to just bounty hunt. You can go ahead and just do, exploration. I mean,
yeah, but keep it within the context of bounty hunting, though. I don't want you to go into the exploration's coming up.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, you can bounty hunt. You can go ahead and, if you're into that, jump in your adventure stalker and go out and look for characters. You can go ahead and do some dirty deeds and cut off comma rays and hold a black spot somewhere out in the system where you deactivate communications. It's almost like patches, which some of you guys may have had when you was a kid with that headpiece. But you can create your own gameplay. We're talking about role playing. You create your own gameplay with that. So if you're trying to go ahead and be a villain, you can go ahead and cause havoc, and then just cut off those comma rays, and all of a sudden you're undetectable throughout the verse.
Let me ask you a question. What are the payouts? I can ask you and Gomab because you guys have done it. What are the payouts for when you do bounty hunting?
Oh, I haven't done it to that point of degree because there really isn't that significant gameplay when it comes to the payouts on that.
Okay. It depends. It depends.
I mean,
on your rep.
On your reputation. Okay, but I'm talking. I don't mean the PvE ones, the PvP ones.
Oh, it depends on their crime stats.
It could be 10K sometimes.
Okay.
I think it recently got bumped up. Before, I think it was like 30K was like the max.
Okay.
But I think they bumped it up to something like crazy, like 50 or 60K. Because it just, again, it just wasn't worth it before. But now,
Gomab, don't you know 30K is a dirty word?
No. Turn off the lights. But yeah. I mean, thanks, Gomab, for correcting me on that one because you're right. There are some missions on there where you can go ahead and select a regular player and go after them depending on their crime stat and their reputation.
Okay.
I can't wait till players put a bounty on a player. I mean, just like you saw in Star Wars Galaxy, hint, hint, Griff.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of that going on, and I mean, players. If a player wants you to get arrested or detained, they're going to put a hefty fee on your head. So it's going to be interesting to see how that flows out when they put that gameplay in game.
So the mechanic that we don't have for bounty hunting is the actual capture side of it. You can kill, but we don't have the capture side. That's what we're still waiting on, right? Because I know we're waiting on the tasers to come out and being able to put them into the chambers, right?
Right.
On the Cuddy Blue.
For those people who purchased the Cuddy Blue, right?
Yeah, the Cuddy Blue, the Hawk, and isn't there something else that holds the Stalker? Right? The Avenger Stalker.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So there's.
Do they have the rifle that can knock people out in the game?
It's not set up to do that right now. The electric charge will kill you right now.
Right. You got the Cuddy Blue, the Hawk, and then you got some modular ships like the Caterpillar may be able to modulate it depending on if they got any prison cells. We saw that when they put that type of gameplay in, and when you had to go in and you had to take a picture of that criminal that was in the cell and stuff like that. So don't be surprised if the Caterpillar can be a major transport system for that. And you never know. Prison
transport. That would be prisoner like. What was it? The Mandalorian. He has a transport ship. That'd be really cool. Put the prisoners in it.
Well, they said that there's going to be a brig in the Banu Merchantman.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. That's true.
And you never know the Carrick has 2 modular bays, so you never know the Carrick may be modular to go ahead and do all that as well. You never know.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Well, that's our touch on bounty hunting. Let's go into this one. Data running. Gomab, what do you know about data running? Any thoughts about data running? Don't know about data running? And this is the Herald that we're looking at right now.
I have no clue about data running. There's no information about it. I don't even think they even got at tier 0.0 yet on data running, or even if it's even on the roadmap before they
Yeah.
they I don't even think it's on the progress tracker, should I say.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't looked for it.
Right.
I do know that two of the fastest ships in the game right now are supposed to be for data running. That's the Herald you have there and the MSR. So, hey, maybe that's going to be you know, it's going to be something important so that you can, you know, leverage some of that speed to get the data where it needs to go. I think it'll be great once it's in. I would love, you know, I love my MSR. It's a very useful ship. I would love for it to have even more usefulness.
Okay. Kelosal, I'm gonna go to you. The CIG has talked about being able to share data, share information that could be sold, right? In game, you know, and captured in some form. And we don't, like Gomab says, there's not a lot out there to tell us how it's going to be. We can kind of look at the ships and see they've got these data banks, they got these computers on them. But what can a solo person do when it comes to data running? What's the whole process of them making money? What are some options that they would have getting a ship like the Herald?
I mean, I'm not much of a data runner, so I wouldn't be able to tell you that much from there. But other than the fact that you can make a lot of money selling data information. You could spy. You could listen into other orgs if you're trying to go ahead and infiltrate. You could go ahead and listen to other NPCs, or you could find out certain spots of the galaxy that you did not know about, certain wormholes, certain different types of fissures or whatever, nebulas that you may not be able to. They may not be mapped. I expect these people to be sitting out there for hours, and I expect these people to be, you know, they're experts at gathering that type of data to go ahead and sell it. I mean, that's a lot of lucrative cash if you got the right type of information and sell it to the right type of people.
Okay. FC, do you think that CIG may build some missions for data running? Like you have to go to a certain location. In fact, if you remember a little while back at one of the Citizen Cons, they had that thing where the person went to New Babbage and they had to go to the computer and pull some data out of it, if I'm remembering correctly. I mean, could that be something that these ships would be used for too, where there's actually missions that you go to and you have to maybe move information from one location to another and you get paid for doing it?
In my opinion, I think that would probably be the way that most people will do data running, and probably using missions and carrying data back and forth, and like maybe you have to have a particular ship in order to store the maximum amount of data like the MSR can hold, or maybe like if it's only a small amount of data, they can just give you a device and you can carry it on a fast ship. Like the Herald or the MSR. So yeah, I think that'll be something coming in game. Okay. Who knows when though?
Von Cody Schweitz says, didn't they talk about at one point about you finding a crashed or attacked ships that you could use the data runners on them to try and pull information from them? Who attacked them, where they were going, where they come from, treasures they had dropped, etc. That's one thing that I do remember them talking about, being able to pull information from ships. We've also heard them talk about black boxes before, right? How's that information being transferred? You know, is it a matter of securing the black box and tying it into your system so that it's on your ship? Or is it just a matter of taking the black box from one location to another? I think this is something that a solo player can do, that somebody could just make money having a reputation for being very good at doing it. This ship does have two seats on it. There's a pilot seat, and then there's like a scanning operator seat in there. And I'm assuming that that's where you're pulling, or that's the equipment that you're using to pull information. So I am curious about, you know, does it take two people to do this, or can one person fly it, you know, get where they're going, maybe park next to an asteroid and then go to the back seat and do their work? I am kind of curious to see. But like Gomab said, there isn't a lot outlined yet about, you know, this particular career. But
if I'm going to speculate, what I would think is looking at how CIG does gameplay loops, right? Is that you'll have missions to go to a space and to gather data, and you'll have to avoid detection, or you either have to avoid detection or fight your way out, or, you know, fight off security forces in order to make sure you gain the data completely and escape safely and make it back to the mission giver, with possibly a bonus if you can do it all without ever being detected.
Or right? time, or even time, maybe.
Or time, quickly. Right? You know, it'd be great if you could say, hey, look, there's couple ships, if we stay at this range, we stay out of scan range of these ships, we're able to, pick them up. Oh no, they're coming towards us. We got to move before they get within our, our radar range, and they pick us up. And then other ships start spawning in. It becomes a battle. You got to fight your way out. They may even lock down quantum, whatever, So.
Yeah, go that point. Just picked up what I wanted to say. I mean, this is probably a very soloable career, but you have to weigh your chances and weigh the risk. Like if you get detected and they start coming after you, you're gonna have to get up from the scanning location and then walk or run all the way to your pilot seat and get into the chair. But if you had two people to do it, as soon as you get detected, boom, you can start getting away.
Right. And did we miss another ship? Isn't the Terrapin one of them?
I remember. Oh, you weren't here earlier. Oh, I said this earlier. It's not that I'm looking at this picture as the only ship that does it. I'm just covering the category. Right. It's just representing the category. So the Terrapin. The Terrapin's going to come. Well, no, the Terrapin's coming up under surveillance. So we've got. In fact, do we have a surveillance on the list? Shoot,
yeah, data running is not surveillance. Yeah, I don't think.
Right. No.
They may combine them.
Right. No, I didn't put it on the list, but we do have surveillance in here somewhere. At least we're supposed to. I'll make sure. If we don't, I'll make sure I bring it up because there is a surveillance card. Okay. All right. So let's move on past data running. EMS. This one's been flipped around a lot. Fastcart. People have talked about what is EMS being able to respond, or medical emergency services being able to respond to people when they go down. And there's been a lot of conjecture about whether this particular career would work, right? Because of the danger or the risk involved. Have you heard anything from people? I can share some stuff, but I'll let you guys share first. Have you heard from people talking about people who have done EMS runs? Were they able to do it? Did they show up and they were ambushed? Good experiences, bad experiences, or you haven't heard anything at all about EMS?
I haven't heard too much about or what I've heard. I've probably heard of the same thing you've heard. That there's specific orgs out there who want to do it. Whether they want to do it solo or co-op, I don't know too much about that. But
okay.
Yeah, as far as I know, I think people have been on the up and up so far. Okay. I haven't heard too many people get bamboozled. That's me though.
Okay, Gomab.
I haven't heard too many people getting getting tricked into coming out. I mean, because the only way to trigger a medical beacon is if you're in an incapacitated state right now, if I'm not mistaken. And so, I mean, unless somebody wants to go through some elaborate stuff like, hey, I'm gonna incapacitate you, then you're going to call for a medical beacon, and then we're going to jump this guy for absolutely nothing other than the memes, because you don't get anything for it, right? It's not like you can steal his drugs and go sell it on the black market or something.
Right.
So,
right.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to do it, but I haven't heard it happening too often.
Okay. Kelosal, any experiences?
Yeah. No, the only one I've heard of was the one you gave me about you walking through the snow trying to get somebody, and the snow was beating you down and trying to get up there, and it took you a while to go ahead and get to somebody.
Yeah,
that's the only experience. I mean, maybe somebody could come up with some type of machinima on on that. Maybe come up with the Ghostbuster vehicle alarm as they're going to pick up characters and stuff like that with just the hospital ships.
Yeah,
that would be interesting. Hint, hint. If anybody wants to make a machinima on EMS.
Oh, let me say, you definitely want someone to come to get you with experience, because you don't want someone to accidentally steal your helmet and make you suffocate.
Oh,
I've seen that happen.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah, that can happen. At least you got to be real careful when you're doing it. This is what I will say. I do know some people who've done it, and like Gomab said or Fastcart said, most of the experiences have been good. They didn't have anybody that, gave them any hard time or anything like that. People were like, thanks, and they kept on rolling. My question is, curiosity is, are people at the point where they're using, I don't think they're using the EMS ship, the Cutlass Red right now. I think people just arrive in whatever ship they want to arrive in. And I'm curious to see when it might get to that point where people will actually use something like the Cutlass Red to appear. Now, we've talked about whether this is a solo gig or whether you should have security with you. you know, if you're going to be transporting somebody. Right now, you wake them up where they're at and they just keep rolling. I haven't heard anybody say they want to be picked up and taken to the hospital yet. That I haven't heard. Have any of you guys heard anything like that?
No.
No.
Do you think the consequences are not severe enough to require that?
That's probably it, because most of the time if somebody heals you, you're healed, you know, you're backed up to snuff. So
yeah, the tier injuries just aren't really there. Yeah, they're in the game, and every so often you'll get an injury that will require you to have to go to a clinic or something to take care of. But it doesn't happen very often. I think the threshold of incapacitation is very low, and so you know you go from, and the tiers are backwards. Like tier 3 is the lowest tier, and tier 1 is the highest, or is it vice versa?
Right. No, you're right.
So like you go from having a tier 3 injury, chest injury because you got shot, to being incapacitated, right? Even if you get revived with the medical gun, it's not like, you know, that hole in your chest is all of a sudden, you know, healed, but it's just not there.
I think the medical gun should be a temporary solution, and I hope they rebalance that. It shouldn't heal you for 100%, maybe 70, you know, or something like that, until you go ahead and actually see a medical, go to a medical facility or a doctor or what have you in the game. I know they got a lot of tweaking to do on that one. I'm happy that they finally got that in the game, but I would love to see a little bit more. I won't say long-term injuries. We'll see that with the new insurance company they got out there. I forgot the name of that insurance company they got to get out there. The one that's in charge of making biotics and all that stuff like that. But I want to see injuries that you get a broken arm, somebody come with a medical gun, they'll heal you for a little bit or at least numb the pain, but you still have that severe broken arm injury. You have to go into a facility and get that taken care of, or a Cutlass Red is going to have to show up to go ahead and take care of that. Not you use that little blue the med gun and all of a sudden you're at 100%. That's ridiculous. They need to change that and tweak that. You'll probably see a little bit more use of the MS if you see that.
I mean, it probably will be that way, because this is just the starting of the medical game loop. So they just want to see how it goes, and then they'll tweak it as it goes on. And probably by the end, it'll probably be just like you say, Kelosal.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping that it was going to be implemented when it came in, because they were very detailed about it, and I thought that was going to start happening. I have done some EMS runs before. I haven't had any problems with doing them, but like I said, never to the point where I had to drag somebody or feel like I had to take the Cutlass Red and put them in the bed and get them healed up that way. It's always been, like you said, Kelosal, just breaking out the little white gun, giving them the drugs. And even though I think in our HUD, you'll see the drug content that the person gets, I'm not so sure that when that runs down, I think they're still at 100%. I don't think that they're losing they're not bleeding out or anything. I think that they're still just as healed up as they were when they were still on medication. So
yeah, once you're healed, you're healed,
right? Okay. All right.
That should be changed.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the next one. Exploration. Can you explore Gomab by yourself? Can you? The 315 supposed to be this ship that you can go out. It's got long range, got extra sensors on it, and you're supposed to be doing some exploration. What can a solo person be looking for as far as exploration goes?
You can do it. I mean,
what would they do though? I mean, what would they do?
You know, they run around and scan. I guess, I don't know. Like, you know, they fly. Hopefully, there's someplace they can go.
Bring a friend.
And do the scanning, as opposed to pointing their ship in a direction and flying and scanning, and hopefully something pops up interesting for them to go investigate. Right? That just that doesn't seem like fun.
Okay.
You know, so I think you're going to have like the multiplayer, like the bigger explorations and pathfinding ships, like, you know, the Carrot, soon to be the Odyssey, something like the 400i, the 600i. You'll have those larger multi-cruise ships that are going to go out, and they'll be able to discover points of interest that will then can be shared back to the masses for when you could send out a single player to go and dive a little bit deeper into it. That's at least I hope that's what these single seaters will be. Otherwise, I mean, you got a lot of people that don't want to be around people, so you could say, hey, look, go explore in your single seater, and you'll never see anybody for a very long time out there in space.
Okay. Kelosal, I'll bounce this to you. Can these be missions? Can CIG create missions for that solo player that they have to go out and do some type of some specific exploration, not just wandering, but some detailed, maybe there's a rumor about something or, newscast, something, how does that single player possibly find reasons to jump into a 315p and go out?
Well, you can put POIs in the game. We're still waiting for that to go. That's definitely usually always a first. Don't forget the 315 does have a tractor B on its nose.
Right.
So you can track anything and bring anything back. You can go ahead and set up missions to where you can have people will have to be knowledgeable in the lore in order to find specific items. And let's say, they may be rare items, or let's say it's an item that you can go to and see, right? But you have to have read something in the game that goes ahead and lets you know about what possible location it could be. It could be where you got, I won't say a game, but it could be where you've read something in the lore to where it says it's in this area at this location. You could have communication beacons, alien communication beacons that's still sending out signals to maybe old races that are long dead but it never shut down. You can do things like that where you can go ahead and gather that type of information. There's good reference to that with Elite Dangerous. There's good reference to that in Eve. There's so many things you can do with exploration in terms of not just planetary, but it can be out in space. It can be in nebulas. It can be an old ancient empire. There's some empires that we haven't heard yet in game, or that they're scratching on, that a lot of people are talking about, that are, that still have some bit of communicate going on, but nobody knows where they are or what's going on.
Okay.
You can find out information on the Xi'an, and check and see where they are, or maybe some hidden buoys that tells you where the Vandul is.
Okay.
So
let me hit something that J2 says here. J2 says the 315 is a pathfinder, and it could be used for the pioneer, being able to search for building sites, right? It goes out ahead to find out good places to land. I want to touch off what Kelosal said, fastcart. He talked about the lore. Is it possible that the lore could be done in such a way, or the game can be done in such a way, that it's not dependent upon lore, but if you know the lore, there are benefits? And I'll give you an example. Citizen Con, they showed in Pyro where the guy goes to the little marketplace, and he walks up to the guy and he's looking for that. Remember the artifact that he had? Yeah. Well, what happens if you show up someplace and you're looking around in the dark and that thing's laying there, right? And your attitude or assessment of it is that, it's a piece of junk, right? Piece of junk. But if you know, like Kelosal said, the lore, you say, oh, wait a minute, that's a Banu blah blah blah. You know what I mean? I mean,
and it's worth millions of credit. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So will ships like this help? Like if you're doing that as a solo thing, could those type of missions pop up if you're out there by yourself, right? You ain't got no big ship or anything, but it's that type of thing that can happen. 97.9. Thank you for the sub. Thank you, the resub. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
I don't know if this particular ship or any kind of ship will help with that. I think that's in general. That's what the pilot information will come into play. Maybe that some ships or other will keep something more safe, or maybe something will have like a cubby hole or a secure storage that you can't get scanned and stuff like that. But as far as exploration goes, I don't think specific ships will help with that. But something Kelosal said, he said you can use this ship to maybe explore Vandul space or maybe explore Xeon space, and I think that's a possibility. I think that also, when you talk about mission, I think mission to chart a dynamic wormhole or point of interest could be a possibility, or like charting a wormhole in general, because according to like Citizen Con a few years ago, you can't just go into a wormhole and then you're out the other side. You have to navigate the wormhole So I think exploration ship will be able to chart wormholes and make it easier for other people to go through them.
Okay.
Right, and they should be in addition to fastcart. I mean, I was thinking about it. What about chain explorations? For example, you go to one location, you find something, and it requires you to go someplace else and someplace else. Or if Chris Roberts, since he said he was focusing on multiplayer, what about exploration missions that require more than one person to touch an item to open it? Like maybe you gotta have 3 or 4 or 5 people to go ahead and touch an item on a door. The door opens, and then
but see, now you just bumped my solo players. You just bumped my solo player out of the conversation as soon as you went there. See, that's the hard part about this, because we are so used to thinking about. And don't get me wrong, Star Citizen is being designed as an MMORPG, right? But the question becomes, when you have the players who do approach the game, right? Can they find things that they can do, that they can make money, that they can live in the verse, and feel satisfied, or will they be like some type of glass ceiling that says, I can only do so much, and after that I can't do anything again?
At least as a single player, you can report that information back to your org and say, hey, we found this.
Or sell the info.
We need 5 people. There you go. Yeah.
Well, see, there you go again. You put them in the org. See, you can't get away from it. This is the solo player. They ain't in no org. They out there by themselves, and they are playing the game, and they can sell it to your org.
It's Sunday. That's supposed to be resting today. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
If people want to play solo, that is fine. There's going to be plenty for them to do, as long as they don't come in with the expectation that they can do everything. Right? Like, hey, there's lanes for you to swim in. There's enough to keep you busy for as long as you want to continue to play. The challenge that happens, I've seen happen, is when people I want to be a solo player, but I also want to kill that super mega huge dragon over there.
Right.
But I don't want to play with people. But I really want that loot that dragon drops. Hey, game, you need to fix this so that I can be powerful enough in order to tackle the biggest risk and the biggest challenges in the game, and also get the largest rewards.
Yeah,
right.
Gomab, I have 2 words for you: raid finder.
No. People need to just deal with it, right? If you want to be a solo player, there's plenty for you to do. We're about to go through a lot of them. We ain't even halfway through the list.
Yeah,
but if you know what I'm saying. But if you want to do Jump Town, yes, you may make $100,000 for AUEC. But if you want to make millions in Jump Town, you better go get you a crew, and y'all better come with it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So,
but something funny though, to your point. We were out there one day. There was a guy out there by himself loading his cutlass by himself. We had 7 people running the Congo line. He was just like, and he was content. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't even fill a sucker up. He put like about 20 boxes in there and said, all right, I'll see y'all later. And he was happy.
See y'all later. He made a couple $100,000.
Right. He was happy. Right. He was happy. So you're right. There's room for that person. He ain't gonna make that mega million, but he gonna eat that night. He's all right. He's
lucky. He's lucky he ran into y'all.
Right, exactly, because that was the risk, right? Being out there as a solo player, then there's the risk involved with playing solo in the verse. He's lucky
he ran into y'all and not us, because we would have said, "Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for all that hard work, man.
Donation, buddy.
Hey, man, we'll give you a ride quick to the next the closest med bed.
Give me that booty, yes, sir. Give me a booty.
All right,
that's pretty much what he's doing.
Let's go up to the next category here, which is freight. And I know Gomab, I want to hit this because you were very particular about distinguishing cargo and freight, and we do want to kind of think about this from a much more industrial side of the game. Those people who might be running a ship like the SRV. Or might be running ship like the what was the new one that came out? The
Raft.
The Raft. Yeah. These ships are designed for moving these big cargo containers. Let me start with you on this one, Kelosal. Will there be somebody who actually just is happy living up at the space station, and you just hire them and they just load and unload, or is that just too real?
Yeah, Cosmic would love doing that.
Okay.
I mean, so there's a lot of people that are out there that they would just love the freedom of being free, and doing all that, doing what they want to do, when they want to do it, and how they want to do it. And if somebody's going to trust them with their wares and items, they'll be right there to go ahead and collect the cash. So yeah, there's plenty of people out there. Like I said, I purchased a raft, and with the intent on carrying that type of SEU out in space.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Gomab, we've talked about this game loop of like when a ship like a Hull C comes in, right? And you're getting some stuff loaded up, and you go there to the desk, and they tell you 45 minutes to unload and load, right? NPC loading. Is this the window where those solo players can now make money? Because maybe if you've got human players, that time cuts from 45 minutes to 15 or 20 minutes. Is that maybe a way that solo players could end up earning money doing this type of thing?
Possibly, if you're if you got, I can imagine if you're a solo player with an Argo, right? And then, all you do is you just hang around the cargo decks and say, hey man, I'll select manual. I'll get you loaded up in half the time if you give me, 10% of your of what it was, or whatever it was you were going to make off of this, right? You can make more runs faster. Matter of fact, I got a buddy at the place where you're going. He'll do the same thing, and you could just, be in and out. It's a possibility. I just, I don't know how profitable it will be, especially if, hey, it's going to take 45 minutes to load me. All right, cool. I brought my, hey, thanks, Cyber Ghost Space.
Thanks for the follow.
See, I knew you were coming, Whammer, so I stopped talking. Maybe you have your arrow or your fighter ship or something, stored there and say, hey, I can just go do some bounty hunting missions while this is loading up, or I can go do something else. You're not just sitting there wasting that time. So I don't know. It could be something.
Okay.
But as what you were saying before, I want to make sure people understand there's a difference. There's freight hauling, there's cargo hauling, and then there's trading. There's commodity trading. Those are three. I think they're going to be three distinct gameplay loops in this game, and a lot of times we all lope them in together because a lot of the same ships are used for all of them.
Okay, cool. FC, you going to talk about this Banu merchantman? How you getting all this stuff hauled back and forth? Are you going to come down as the pilot and do all this stuff, or are you going to hire some solo players and put a notice out there saying I need my Banu merchantman unloaded?
If solo players can get it done faster than NPCs, sure, I'll hire solo players. It depends on what I'm doing and how fast I need it done. Yes, but as far as the Banu merchantman goes, I'm looking forward to it. I hope it. I don't think the Banu merchantman probably won't be so much solo because it has so many.
It's not. I wasn't even including it in the list. I was just saying I know you've got one. Would you hire solo players because you need to get all that
I would
stuff
hire
off.
solo players, but I would have to weigh the benefits versus the disadvantages.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's see. We got move on to the next one here, which is what is the next one? Oh, okay.
Freight transportation.
Freight and transportation. Yeah, freight transportation. The whole we've seen that this ship is getting near being finalized, and one of the next ships that we'll be getting in game. It is a solo ship out of the whole series. Let's see, Kelosal. Are the whole ships as vulnerable as people think they are for the solo player? I mean, can a solo player go out in this game that doesn't need an escort? Just gonna go do what they got to do, bringing some stuff down from outer space down to a planet or whatever. What do you think? Is a solo player gonna be okay? Don't need no help with this ship?
It depends on what's in the cargo.
Okay.
But I mean, like I said, that type of gameplay, you gotta ask yourself: is it lucrative or not to go ahead and bother them in that ship? Are you gonna get any money? Are you trying to destroy the entire ship? What's the point of messing with a freight ship if you're blowing it up?
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to be taking the wares and selling it or use that as a ransom or something like that. You're not supposed to just go out there and blow it up, and that's just griefing. It could be another style of gameplay, just downright malicious.
Yeah.
But
Well, let me ask you a question on that, what you just said. Does your vulnerability lower the smaller the ship? In other words, if I see somebody in an Aurora, do I really want to waste my time? You know what I mean? Versus if I see somebody in a 600i or 400 or a Connie. I mean, does having the smaller footprint with a hull A give a solo player a little bit more security? Because ain't nobody gonna be thinking about them.
No.
You don't think so? Okay.
I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, you may be the commodity that somebody wants. I mean, so it doesn't matter. I mean, you could be one of those. I've seen plenty of people, especially like if they're a pirate or whatever, hiding their friend's ship in a small ship.
Yeah.
Right? They try to be undetected or try to get away from being detected. So I understand, the sizes of the ship, but it all depends on what's in it, and it also including the character who's driving it.
Okay. FC.
So no, I don't see any safe zones in any side ships.
Okay. FC.
Yeah, I think to your question, the biggest disadvantage or problem I see is someone want to blockade, then they'll target a hull and ships like it because they don't want anything getting through.
Good point. Gomab.
I don't know. Like I say, I think that when they introduce this, there's going to be freight missions. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. Are people going to jump it? I mean, people jump you already now anyway, and they don't get any payback for it or anything good out of it. When they have the cargo refactor, and I'm able to take those boxes that you drop and put them on my hull A and speed off and go sell it and make the money you was about to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be better. There'll be more reason to do it. So if hopefully when it comes out that it'll actually mean cargo refactors in the game, and we'll actually have freight in the game, and that'll mean great things for the game.
Okay, all right. I'm hoping that we're still trying to figure out what the cargo units. I think they said was it 32 units per cargo bin, if I'm remembering correctly. And we've seen that there are two sets of cargo bins. There's the large ones that go on the raft, and then there are the smaller ones that are like half sized. So I'm really curious to see, when we're moving these back and forth, if you take a mission or an assignment to move something from one location to another, whether it's a cargo, what do they call it in the space stations? The cargo deck. The cargo deck.
Okay.
There's something there. You get a mission to take this down to our corp and drop it off at this particular location or whatever. I think solo players will be able to make money doing that. Because I think there are going to be some people who really, because like there are people right now who just do box missions. They enjoy doing box missions, right? Picking up something and throwing it in the back of their ship and dropping it off on a rooftop. I think this is just kind of a next level up kind of thing that if it's lucrative enough, there will be people who will do this and be totally content doing it. Because some people will find it's like the most boring thing possible that you could be doing. But I think there will be people who will be doing that.
Yeah, they also talked about cargoes being as different colors too. It's the same thing that we see in
different
international
containers.
cargo. There are different colors for different types of items that are in there. So that's going to be interesting. If players know what type of colors are for whatever type of items, just be on the lookout for that. Because if I see a yellow container, and that yellow, I know a yellow container is going to be rare items. I'm coming straight for it.
Okay. Good point. Okay, mining. When we start talking about mining, we've got two different types of mining. We've got mining in space, and then we've got the planetary mining. And this ship can do both. So let's talk a little bit about this. Solo players. This has been in game for a while now. Mining is one of the most built out careers that we have. FC in the game. There's been a lot of conjecture about mining. Are you vulnerable? Not vulnerable? Do you need somebody with you when you're doing it? Have you done mining, Fastcart? I don't think I've ever heard you about mining before, have you?
No.
You're not a mining kind of guy, huh?
No. That's not true. I've mined for 10 hours in EVE Online just to get my first battleship. Yeah, so I do mine, but I haven't mined it in Star Citizen yet.
Okay, all right. Gomab, I'm gonna hit you with that one on the mining with the prospector. Any thoughts about that for the solo player?
As a new player, as a solo player, if you want to make money and buy other ships in the game, first ship you should buy with your cash outside of your starter ship should be a prospector. Period, full stop. It is the most consistently lucrative profession in the game right now. It can be nice and peaceful and quiet, and you can just make a whole bunch of money and let that fund all of your other adventures if you want to decide to, stack up enough money to go buy you a Vanguard Sentinel or something, right? And go do some bounty hunting. Or let's say you want to go buy some ground vehicles or something. You can, easily make enough money doing mining, watch the guides. That is the perfect starter solo gameplay loop, in my opinion, if the goal is to make enough money to explore other gameplay.
Okay. Kelosal, you've done a lot of mining. I know you have. What would be your recommendations for the solo player? Gomab says it's a good way to go to start making money in the games, consistent. What are some things as a miner? If you were out there by yourself, right? You don't have anybody giving you escorts or anything. What's your advice for that solo player with who's mining in space or a planet? Is one better than the other?
I mean, there are some groups out there scouting planets. I agree with Gomab. Go out there in the prospector if you're solo mining. You can solo in a mole, but
quit bringing up multi-cruise ships.
Sorry, I'm just saying. You said can you solo? I mean you can solo in a mole.
I said no. Wait. Let me lay this groundwork again. You can solo in any ship there is. I only want to talk about ships that are designed for optimal use and purpose. So we got to keep it within the. I don't want to introduce other shit because then people be saying, "Oh, they said I can go mine in my Orion." Yeah, you can, but you don't want to, Okay. So go ahead.
Let me tell people once again: do your research. Stop worrying about other people telling you and do your research. A prospect is definitely. There are certain planets that some people have gone out and just basically laid out a trajectory and seen certain areas where certain types of minerals pop up at. I haven't gone to that type of extreme, but there are certain types of resources out there that are quite lucrative, like laranite, like a terranite, like a boris. Of course, the big one of all, quantanium. But even with soloing. And a prospector has its limits trying to get a quantania. So it's very lucrative. It's a good ship to go ahead and earn some quick cash in if you're trying to get some money.
Yeah. And to your point, you mentioned about learning and doing your research, because even knowing where to take your materials once they've been, mined can make a big difference in the game and your profits, right? And even the filtering system in refining, right? That can make a difference as well. Kelosal, the different, when you go to the refinery, which process you pick?
Yes, it definitely makes a difference because each Lagrange point station has different types of, I would say, their
payouts are different, right?
Their payouts are different. Some of them like a +5 for laranite, a -5 for corundum and things like that and so forth. You got to know all that type of stuff as well, because it would definitely make a benefit in terms of what you're trying to extract and bring back within a timely manner. So you better know your stations. Get yourself a spreadsheet.
Yep. And I would tell for go ahead, fastcart.
Wait, I gotta make another spreadsheet. I thought I was done with spreadsheet after I finished playing EVE Online.
No, if you want to keep track of all the stuff that you have to do with mining, there is a lot. He's absolutely right. And at least until you get familiar with what Lagrange points take what, and I don't know if that's ever going to change because it's static right now, but if it becomes dynamic, even you as a solo player, you need to go in and read and see what are they charging, what are they paying at these different locations, because with the economy shifting, that could be a huge factor.
And is it at capacity? That's another thing. If that space station capacity is a big deal, you see one space station that would be at 150,000 times, and another station would be like 15,000 times in terms of capacity. The higher the capacity, the longer it's going to take for your stuff to get done, the more it's going to be expensive, and the more expensive it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, understand your stations, and I was doing that. I was going to the person. I said, "What is the capacity at this station for this resource?" It's the same thing, So you got to check and see on that.
Yeah. Citizens are, yes, you can mine in your Orion if you want to. Lose it.
I was going to know where you're going with that one.
Feel free if you want to have at it, Hoss. That's what I will say. Okay. All right. Let's continue with the mining. And we talked about planetary mining and space mining, but then there's this type of mining, right? Four-wheeled mining using a rock. This is something I have not monkeyed around with a lot in the game. As much as I love mining, I've done most of my mining in the ships. Any of you guys done the rock very much?
Not as much.
Nope.
I did when it first came out.
Yeah, you know, I've watched the piracy guys take these guys out with these. I feel so bad for them because they take these guys out. But evidently there are a lot of people that do like rock mining. They like throwing a rock into a cutlass or a Vanguard, not a Vanguard. What's that ship called? The Valkyrie. And they'll go out and drop these things and mine like crazy and have a good time with it. But solo playing, at least the cool thing about it is you can do that. The other ship that's good for doing this, the Nomad, ever since they fixed the backside of it, you could be a single player with a Nomad. You could load this rock onto it. You can go out and do all the rock mining you want to and put it in there all by yourself. You don't need to have another player, and you can make some good money doing this stuff in the game. So
yeah, because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but they were mining, you know, the hand minables at one point, the Had Knights and the rest of the hand minables, and you can get a lot of money bringing in a lot of that content. Yeah. So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Kudos to those people that were doing that. I fell off after, you know, a couple of weeks after rock mining.
So Had Knight is still king. That's what you ride with the
Had Knight is.
Yeah.
Really.
That's still. Yep.
Okay. So Gomab was saying the Prospector should be your first ship. What about a rock or rock DS?
The good thing about a rock is you can afford it in game. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get in game, you know. And
right, and that'll help you make more money faster until you get to Prospector, correct?
Yeah, but again, to use the rock though, you got to have a ship to transport it. That's the other side of the coin of that.
It's not a ship, and plus the rock DS requires 2 people. So.
I'm not even sure. Is the DS rentable? I know the rock is. I don't know if the DS is or not. I've never tried to. I haven't even looked that one up.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can get out the driver's seat and then get into the mining seat.
You don't want to do that.
But it takes time, right?
Ultra vulnerable.
The DS only fits perfectly inside of a Cuddy steel.
Okay.
Get out of here.
They both belong in the same place.
Don't listen to Gomab.
Don't listen to me.
Don't listen to Gomab, y'all. He's over here pulling y'all chains.
I can see I had to look down on that one. I had to look down.
Okay.
Personnel
Everybody's been hanging around me too long.
Yeah. Personnel transports, the MPUV, the personal.
I didn't talk about the rock.
I asked you, did you say they brought the rock, and you shook your head like you didn't know nothing about it. What you want to say, brother? There it is.
I said all right. The rock, yeah. If you're starting in low money and you really want to start with mining, the rock is okay. You can make good money in it. A lot of people enjoy it. I believe there's fast. You can make money faster as say starting and renting a prospector. But again, just to go to how many different paths you have as a solo player. If you do have the money, you're probably not going to be doing a lot of rock mining just because compared to time versus the amount of money you can make, rock doesn't really hold a candle to a prospector. When you're talking about mining, unless this is something you enjoy doing, you like that gameplay loop of flying, searching, landing, getting your rock out, mining, all that stuff. So that's what I said.
You know,
final word about mining. All I got was a rock.
Yeah, I'm glad that was the final word. The one thing I've noticed too is that it seems like a lot of people who do rock mining don't do prospector mining. That also seems to be something I've noticed, that the people who like going out with the rock don't always go up with the prospector. I don't know how in chat whether or not there are people that do that. Oh God, Alex the Droog is backing you up, fastcart, with a pet rock. Okay, so I know it's time. I know it's time to move on now to the next subject.
Don't do it. Don't get started.
All the rock jokes are going to start coming up.
Don't encourage them.
Personnel transport. This has been interesting. We've seen this in Star Citizen, where these ships, the MPUVs, which, if I'm not mistaken, Kelosal, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you own one. they come included with the Idris. Is that correct? MPUVs.
Yes. Yes,
So
I was told it does.
And
Yeah.
those of us who remember the old Murray, what was it called? The video, the one where they did the tour, the Murray tour.
Oh,
the tour.
Yeah, I know.
He arrived. He arrived in an MPUV, and these ships seem to be like shuttles that move people back and forth. But I don't know. What do you guys think about these MPUVs when it comes to moving people around? Because I'm always a little bit wishing they moved faster than they do, because they don't have quantum. But I feel like they should be like super fast. Like if you want to shuttle people, because one of them holds like 6 people, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 4 or 6 people. And if you guys notice, these are the way, how can I describe this? You guys know that the MPUVs are all utility vehicles where that center section comes out, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you know, like on those of you who know how the 890 is designed, it has escape pods on each side that are the same shape as that pod that's underneath that ship. Did you guys notice that? Oh, y'all never noticed that, huh? Okay. So, no. So in an 890, there are 8-seater escape pods on each end that shoot out of the ship and eject out. This ship is that type of ship that would grab that pod and bring it in. That makes sense now? So this is kind of a very specialized ship, even though it's multifaceted in the sense of the things that it can do. Do you think that this is a ship that's worth a solo person buying, hoping that these other modules that come out for it will kind of give it, you know, some life? Or is it going to be a wait and see on this for solo players? Fastcart.
I'm going to say wait and see, but I don't see much profitability in this one unless you already have something that can carry it. But yeah.
Okay. Gomab?
No.
Nope. Skip it. Solo player. Don't do it right now.
Stay away from this ship. Stay away from any ship that can't quantum travel.
Ooh.
Right. Right now, like this ship is useless without other ships.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's pointless without other ships. It's great. Yeah. Oh, it's part of the Idris. Great. It take you to the Idris. You gotta have an Idris in order to take to the Idris. Or if you want your career being a, you know, Everest station taxi driver to take people from the station to bigger ships out in space, that just doesn't. I wouldn't recommend any solo player looking at that. Now there's going to be people that are going to want to do different stuff. And man, I'm not here to yuck your yum. Do you, bro? You know, do whatever you want, but it's not something that I would recommend for any solo player to go out and buy a transport ship that does not have a quantum drive.
Got you.
Not here to yuck your yum. I think that's a sole citizen first. What do you think, Griffin?
What's a sole citizen first? Don't buy a ship.
No, don't. He's not here to yuck your yum.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that on the show.
I've never heard that one. I've never heard that one in life, period. I've never heard that one. All right. Kelosal. The utility of the ship, I talked about all the different things you're supposed to be able to do with it later on, but is it something that a solo player should, for right now, just stay away from or get it in game? What's your thought?
I mean, it's a utility ship. Let me know. Have anybody taken a lawnmower and drove it 5 miles down the road? It's good for what it's good for, which is you go ahead and get into it and you make a short run and you go back. So I think it's good to have. I have one. I'm waiting for it to be used. I'm waiting for it to be used with the Pioneer.
Okay.
You know, I'm waiting for it to be used with ship-to-ship transportation. You know, I'm waiting. I keep having the Enterprise in my face, and I keep having the shuttle being used to transport you from a space dock or maybe, you know. So it is going to be good for what it's supposed to be good for, which is short-range transportation. I don't see why anybody wouldn't have at least one of these things in their inventory. At least one of them.
Okay.
I could
Kelosal. No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. There's no point in it now. And yes, in the future, when you have all the other ships and gameplay loops and the reasons for, yes, it will come in there. Hell, CIG gave a free one away if you brought a friend in, right? Argo Cargo. Yeah. I mean, in the future, there's a lot of stuff that will have purpose.
Mm-hmm.
For now, if my next door neighbor went out and he won a computer that was a amazing 3090, 64 gigs of RAM. He was like, ooh, what game should I play? You should try this Star Citizen. Go out and buy MPUV cargo. I mean, or transport. You know what I'm saying? Like
look, it's just as good as somebody out there buying dirt bikes or buying those 4-wheel dirt vehicles out there. It's just
all-terrain vehicles.
It's just as good as that. So, I mean, I get you, Gomab. But my whole thing is,
but
if you
to your point,
have a good time. There you go.
Class, to your point, one time my cart broke down, and I had to take my neighbor's lawnmowers to go to the store. So yeah, there's a exception for everything.
Now, did you drive a lawnmower in the store?
I plead the fifth.
Oh my god! All I'm gonna say is it was ship of the year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it was.
This is the personal transport, the cargo.
Yeah.
Cargo. Right.
Yeah.
Argo for life.
Well, yeah. Did they distinguish between the two?
Yeah, they did. It's cargo.
Yeah.
Argo cargo.
They did. Oh, all right.
Yeah,
okay.
they did.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's move on, guys.
The least useful one.
Let's go on to the next one, which is racing. Right now, I'm not even sure with the Daymar rally. Is there really any? I guess there is room for a solo player, right? They could get on somebody's team, and do something, but that's still kind of group gameplay, right? It's still group gameplay. So, this is the thing I'm surprised about. And by the way, if anybody from the Daymar Rally folks is listening, I really think you guys should consider making Grimhex's racetrack a reality now. Because it can be done. Because it can be done. No.
There's too much debris out there.
No, that's the point. No. They need to make it a racetrack now. You take a bunch of Cuddy Blues with their lights flashing and everything, set them up at certain point locations where you've got to fly to them and turn and go to the next location. And you can create a racetrack in that asteroid belt. We could sit down in that bar and lounge and enjoy it. So I think they could do it. I really believe it's possible to be done now.
And if you take one out while racing, that's a part of the game.
Yeah.
Collateral damage.
Yeah, you get wiped out. Yeah. So my question, because I would love to see like these bikes or something like that racing out there would be amazing to me. I think it would be amazing. So let's jump past that. Let's just say that CIG does start to create races in some form in the game. Can solo players get in that? Can they do it for winnings? Because I'm curious, how are we going to do that? Because that place is set up to be able to watch races, like a racetrack thing. Anybody got any thoughts on that?
When Arena Commander first came out, they had races, the Murray Cup and the other 3 racetracks. The racing had, hey, thanks for the subscription.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
So he got me to the go live this time. But so the, racing had been in the game ever since Arena Commander 1.0, if I'm not mistaken. And it had leaderboard. So people would race to try to get to the top of the leaderboard. So solo racing has been a thing for a long time in Star Citizen.
But what will be the incentive though? Because don't get me wrong, ego is great, but eventually that area of our game has died out, right? People don't go there and race anymore. Back in the day, it was a big deal. People were wanting to be at the top of the leaderboard. I'm curious as what can CIG do in the verse that will make this become something that people want to. I mean, do they need to set up like an event that's structured, that people go into? Gomab, I saw you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Kelosal.
All right. So one of the things that they could do is they could set up a race circuit, so to speak, on a moon or planet or anything, and have hourly races that just are run, right? Those races have a certain number of spots that are
available.
That are available. If there are no players signed up to race, those spots can be taken by
NPCs.
randomly generated NPCs.
Okay.
Bingo.
Right.
But like, you know, let's say how it's like, say it's the 15-minute cutoff, 15 minutes before the end of the hour, you have a chance to go like up until that point, you have a chance to go sign up for the next race.
Okay.
If you sign up for the next race, you boot one of the NPCs out. If it's just you, you're racing against 7 other NPCs.
Got you.
If 7 other people, you know, or if 12 other people or 15 other people sign up, then they'll say, okay, the first 8 that sign up are in this first race. The next one, you'll come back in an hour. We'll send you a notification when you need to start making your way back, so on and so forth, and have the races that way. People can then, I think they should have a book, right, where people can then go and bet on who they think is going to win the race. Right? They say, hey, look, place your bets, wage however much, you know, have odds and everything in there, and have that just in the game where people can go win and lose. So you'll not only have the solo player being able to be the racer, but you also have the solo player that could go in there and be the gambler.
Okay. Interesting. Klaus, what were you going to say about this racing solo?
In addition to what Gomab was saying, which is a great idea, they should have some type of markers that may pop up on your screen that says the race is about to start here, you know, at da-da-da-da-da.
Like an event.
And that way, right, and that way you can either tune into it with your Mobi-Glass, or you can at least get an update where you see who's at first or second, or even who won the race. If they were kind enough to go ahead and make it a broadcast, you know, that'll be fantastic. You know, not just really broadcast the whole time, but maybe every now and then say there's been a lead change. You know, or things like that and so forth. So that would be immersive for me, you know, if you want to go ahead and if you don't want to, you know, listen to it, you can toggle it on or toggle it off, you know. So that's always definitely good for immersion in the game. But yeah, it'd be great if they go ahead and do that. Bike race. Yeah. Wonderful.
Yeah.
The key is that they will be run. They will be run no matter if there's players there or not.
Right.
So you could always come down and see a race being run, and maybe, and like you said, maybe even tune into it on your ship to hear, you know, what's going on with it. Right. But the key will be that they're always being run every hour on the hour. Yeah. No matter what.
Or every other hour, because you got to clean up after the second. Well, depending on how much trouble you're going to make for yourself.
Yeah, it can be every 3 hours, every 2 hours. You know, at least run it at least at a minimum 6 times a day. Yeah, at a minimum.
And that's something that solo players could, you know, they could enter into, they could play, you know, and enjoy themselves, and maybe win their AUEC, you know, in the process of it. It would be cool. Okay. All right.
Anything but wreck.
I'll buy that for $1. Yeah, anything but wreck. Yeah, I'll buy that for $1. Speaking of wrecks, Salvage. We have a ship that we know of called the Vulture that is designed as a one-person operator ship that will be doing salvage. Let's see, Gomab, I'm gonna hit you first with this. I know we're looking forward to this. We've seen the gray box of this ship and it's looking pretty cool. Solo player out there doing salvage. Any thoughts?
Yeah, it has the potential to be very profitable and very engaging, very fun. I look at it now as like it's probably going to be really close to mining, but instead of you going and finding rocks to extract, you'll be extracting materials from derelict, crashed, or otherwise destroyed spaceships.
Yeah. Let me ask a question. Have any of you guys played the game Shipbreaker or seen it?
Yes. Oh. Yes.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Shipbreaker is an interesting game because what you're doing is you're basically, you know, salvaging from the ship itself. You're not like taking every element from it, but you're taking the elements that have the greatest value to them, right? Because obviously the Vulture is not big enough to, go to a Starfarer and take all the metal and everything. But it seems like what CIG is going to do is make the ship where you can cut away or take away things that are important. Is that Kelosal, what you think based upon how Shipbreaker is, they would do, where in the back of that area that you're storing on that vulture, you're putting components and things that have value, not necessarily the wings, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. What do you think Salvage is going to look like? Because it's got only one person able to do this with this ship.
Right. I mean, I do know one good event that we were just talking about that the Salvage ship would be great at.
Oh, the races.
So the racing.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's an interesting idea. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if they're going to say you're only able to salvage components and everything else just dissolves. I don't know if they allow you to dissolve it to at least a certain base element of that, and then you can go ahead and resell it. I don't know how they're planning to do this. It's going to be very interesting to see this gameplay. I did not purchase this ship. I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt because, you know, I'm not a services guy. So this is one type of gameplay that I'm definitely interested in. I mean, I don't know how they're going to implement that. I really don't.
Okay. FC?
Yeah, for me, this is more a wait and see. I had this in my hangar. It's in buyback now, but in EVE Online, I don't mind it, and I started my own mission that can take 30 minutes to an hour to put on level 4 mission. So I did enjoy Salvage, but yeah, it's wait and see because I don't know, like like Kelosal said, how small are the components will they be? How usable will the Salvage become after we got the material? Yeah.
Okay. And Gomab, who is this solo player taking these Salvage? I mean, what are they doing with them? Who are they selling them to? Is it going to be NPC? Is it going to be somebody who owns the Crucible? Pine? I mean, who do you think could be some places that this solo player could, once they've scavenged, what could they do with the stuff?
So they're putting in enhanced selling, right? The tier 0 of actual selling of the stuff that you loot. I imagine that needs to be in place for salvage, because if you salvage a component, right? If I salvage a, class C quantum drive off of a wrecked ship, right? I got to be able to go and sell it probably at a cheaper price than what I would buy it for, but I got to be able to sell it. Oh no! Hey,
yeah, thank you. Who was that who dropped that? Somebody just gave us a contribution, but the name didn't pop up. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for that Patreon gift. Thank you so much.
Man, when I talk, man, the money just rolls in. It's just Lord. But I think ultimately the salvage is going to be, at least in the beginning, turning the ships into goop, right, and pulling it in, right? So now you'll have these raw materials, these shipbuilding materials that will have value, same as refined or maybe even unrefined ore, right? So it'll just be another commodity that will be able to go to a TDD and sell primarily. And once they have actual trading,
Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Didn't work. Once they have actual trading in the game,
right,
where I can go and sell something to you or trade something to you, and I think it'll become even more valuable, because then you can, possibly supply your friends.
Yeah.
I just got to say, before we move on, I would open a Sanford and Son franchise with anyone on the cast.
Sanford and Son.
Yeah. I did rename my reclaimer that, by the way. That is the name of my reclaimer.
Oh, you did?
Right now. Yeah. It will be interesting to see. Like, I know Grim from Star Jump. In his video, he shows this ship slicing away at another ship. I'm curious to see whether or not, like you mentioned, Gomab, whether it'll be to the point where we can pull raw materials, or whether we would just be able to take parts, or just maybe certain parts, because they've talked about ships, whether or not they can be completely destroyed in the game. And so I'm really curious to see to what degree, because is this ship going to be more of a ship like when you see this thing rolling up, all they're going to do is just take my components, but the base of my ship's going to still be there. Or if this thing shows up, he's going to chop my ship up into little pieces. You know what I mean? and I got to stop this guy.
Well, it ain't got a lot of storage.
Right, that's what I mean. That's what I mean.
But if we remember from some of the pictures that we saw of the interior of them working on it, it does have somewhat of like a refinery,
right,
thing built in there. That's why I think it's going to just basically pull in that stuff and kind of refine it on board to turn it into
something
goop. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, we're going to, kind of like a prospector, so to speak, right? When you pull in this stuff. So yeah, if you have, it depends on the size of the ship. Okay. This ship,
that's what I was going to say.
Easily, make a Gladius or maybe even something as big as a Sentinel, a Vanguard, maybe a Connie or an MSR. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Vanguard, sure. Connie, I don't think so. I think for Connie, I think you need something like the Orion. Definitely. Orion can go through anything, but yeah.
Or two of them.
Two of them?
It's hard, yeah.
Oh, maybe three. Yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
2 or 3, yeah.
We'll see. Okay. Fair enough. All right, let's move on here. Science. This is a ship you don't hear a lot of people talk about. This category people don't talk about very much. We talk about exploration. Science doesn't get talked about that much. The ship that I'm looking at right now is the Reliant Sin, but there are other science ships in the game. But you start getting into like the much bigger ships like the Odyssey. You started getting into ships like the Endeavor. But the solo player for science, what can the solo player do when it comes to science? I could tell you about this ship. The Sin has a great scanning capacity in it. It has a laboratory in it. So you guys tell me, what do you think a solo player can do with this ship? Should they think about this ship? Because you don't see a lot of them out there. I'm not saying a lot of people don't own them, but you don't see them very much. Kelosal, any thoughts?
Well, they're not bombers. We can get people off of that one, okay?
Okay.
You Star Wars fans. This ship it's probably one of those, I won't call it a dark horse, but it's probably one of those underrated ships. Obviously because of lack of gameplay. But for a ship to have long-range capabilities and advanced sensor scans, and it's a MISC ship, folks. I think MISC, when MISC finally comes in, I understand you got the Freelancer and things like that, and the Prospector, I believe. But when you're bringing in the Odyssey and the rest of them, you're going to see MISC at its best. MISC also does have Shion technology in it, so I'm interested to see what else they can do with the ship. On a small scale, you should be able to rack in a lot of money with this ship.
So solo players who might be interested in a little bit of, the range isn't that great on this ship, but like I said, if you're scanning, it's got a lab on it for science, doing tests or whatever. Is this something that maybe an archaeologist type of person could do? Somebody who's soloing out there. I don't know. Or is it a scout ship? Maybe it could, instead of it being, with a bigger ship, but they go out on their own and go do surveying and look for stuff. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Gomab, what on you?
Yeah, again, the science is another one of those
elusive careers.
It's hand waving. Like, we don't know what it's going to be. Like, data running or exploration. Right? It's going to be really cool.
It's going to be cool, though. Right? It's going to be good. Yeah.
It's going to be good. It's going to love it. We can sit here and pontificate around exactly.
Using the big words.
Yeah. There's a 3 in right now, so it's all good. They're flowing out. We could try to figure out what it's going to be, but we don't know, right? Okay. What is, are we going to be gathering materials and combining them in science experiments to, find new things?
Sethius, thank you so much.
Oh, wow, thank you, Sethius.
See, I think Simone come in.
Oh, God.
Squadron represent.
Sethius Test Squadron, thank you so much.
I knew
Sethius.
If I kept talking, one would come in.
Oh, Lord, here we go. You get 2 of those, Seth. Thank you. 2 from Whammer, Seth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sethius.
Awesome.
Proving my point.
Yeah, FC, let me ask you a question. This is one of those ships that falls into the category, at least CIG calls it, a starter ship. right? And in a way, you could kind of go with the Corray, which is a cargo. That kind of makes sense as a starter. But like some of these ships, like Gomab said, we haven't seen the career paths built out for the Mako. We haven't seen the media van thing done. The fighter is a variant. Okay, I'll get that for combat. But this is another one that we haven't really seen the career built out yet. So is this something that people should, if you're interested in that, for right now, you just get around in it until the science is built into the ship? What do you think about this as a starter for a solo player? Or do you think they should go with some other ships?
Griffin, you asked the exact question because I was thinking for the subscription.
Standard dev. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
Griffin, you asked the exact question that I wrote a note for myself in. I said, This will probably, when the game comes out and when the game loop is actually in, this will probably be a great ship for people to start with to see whether or not the game loop is for them. Because then once they get this ship and see how science works in the game, because we don't exactly know yet, but then they can move on to the next tier, and then they can go on all the way up to the Endeavor, or maybe go into someone else's Endeavor and start working there. So maybe this will be like someone to get their feet wet. But I think people are missing a great, the potential for like the ship, because it could be used for combat, because you could say I was blinded by science.
I squirt some mayo on you.
Oh, jeez, Whammer. Damn, Whammer went there, didn't he?
All right. on that note,
on the flip side, Griff.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelosal.
The company that does make their technology is Chimera Communications. And if you don't know about Chimera Communications in terms of the lore, they are a human manufacturer, and they also have an exclusive partnership with Origin Jumpwork. So I know that'll make you happy, but these guys do a very good job with scanning systems, mainly specialized in mining and exploration spacecraft. So, pay attention to your lore, folks, because that can make or break a ship.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. All right, let's go to a subject that has come up before in many a discussion. That being the smuggler, the Han Solos, and as most people know, whenever the MSR is the ship that reminds so many people of the Millennium Falcon, which it doesn't to me, just because it's asymmetrical, I guess. But anyway, but it does have some capabilities in it. In particular, the data running side for speed, and we know that this ship is one of the ships that does have a area for smuggling, along with the Taurus, the Connie Taurus. And again, I know this ship can be considered a multi-crewed ship. But we want to talk about the career itself. And since those two ships, the Taurus and the MSR, are the only ships that have smuggling compartments in them, I'm going to kind of go ahead and bend the rules a little bit here with this particular ship. What type of things, I'm going to go back to fastcart. What type of things can people be smuggling, you think, in Star Citizen ultimately? What are some things? We already have some stuff in the game now that's illegal, but what are some things that can be smuggled?
They can smuggle anything as long as it's within 9 parsecs. No, they can smuggle drugs. They can smuggle people, depending on how big the ship is. Because slavery it's going to be a thing. Smuggle anything. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Some of the when you go into and read the jurisdictions for the different systems, they talk about what's illegal, what's banned into certain areas. Certain animals are even mentioned. Animals, fastcart mentioned, pharmaceuticals, drugs, things that would be items of pleasure, things you smoke or drink or whatever, can be certain liquors even can be smuggled. So how does a smuggler make money? Who are they selling to?
I imagine so let's say fast forward to the future, Hurston Dynamics really does not like weapons to be available to its citizens due to their, oppressive regime nature, right? So maybe in the future they say, hey, if, while you're coming into our space, you can't have weapons. Like you need to leave that somewhere else if you're coming in over here.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have these weapons. So you may have to put those things in the smuggling compartment just in case you get scanned and they say, hey, look, I see you've got a whole arsenal on this ship. That's illegal here. On the other side, there, you know, whenever you've got a regime like that, there's always going to be a resistance. So there could be an NPC in Hurston that's like trying to arm the citizens in order to kind of fight back against this stuff. That could become a very profitable endeavor for the smuggler that wants to risk it.
Okay.
So, hopefully they'll allow you to smuggle people, right? Because you know, to be able to say, hey, if I can provide a service to a criminal, like say, hey, look, I can get you through the airspace because I have a hidden compartment that you can hide in, put a jump seat in that bad boy, right? Where you sit down. Even if we get scanned, I don't show up as harboring a criminal. Right now, is as soon as they set foot on your ramp, you know, your ship turns red. You know, hopefully, in the past it didn't used to do that. In the past, the ship didn't turn red until they actually sat in a seat on your ship. So hopefully they find some middle ground on that. Say, hey, look, yes, it'll turn red if they sit into a turret or into the co-pilot or the pilot seat, but you know, they'll still be able to be detected if they get scanned by an NPC law enforcement, unless they're in a smuggling compartment of sorts.
Okay. Kelosal.
Yes.
What are some, you know, when we come into all of the cities right now, there is a checkpoint at customs, right? Where we will have to, some of the earlier things that CIG put out, they actually had it where you had to surrender your weapons when you came in through customs in certain areas. When it comes to smuggling, how are we going to get stuff into these big cities? Is there a mechanic that CIG can build? Because like right now, let's say you mentioned Hurston, Gomab, you know, you can land on the outside of Hurston and kind of bring stuff in if you want to dodge going through those scanners, but the guards are still there, right? And you mentioned maybe that guard will be standing at one of those gates, right? Instead of coming in through the hangars, right? What are some other things, Kelosal, like at R-Corp? What are some things? Will the rooftops be part of the usable? You know, you drop someplace else, maybe you can't come in through the hangars. How else will smuggled goods be able to get it? And you mentioned about smuggling bad things, but there's also smuggling good things. And I'm saying that in the sense of what Gomab was saying, that maybe you're smuggling guns for the resistance, right? Instead of the Hurston family.
Right. I mean, they did talk about, I mean, at one point, the craze at Hurston was there a secret entrance on the outside of Hurston that you can walk into, right? For a long time, people were jumping out of their vehicles on the outskirts of Hurston to try to find that secret entrance and smuggle things into. Even Jared made a hint about it. I thought he was lying on that one, but even Jared made a hint about it. But, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they developed something like that. I know they got those scanners out there that will be working when they get it working. And I mean, you could... maybe put something in your pocket that's the shape of a CD, because you're not just smuggling goods. You could be smuggling illicit data collection, you know, and things that you just listened into and was able to beat somebody else to the delivery point. So it's going to be interesting. You could be jumping on top of rooftops. I believe they sat there and said that they were going to do that. You might be able to jump on the outskirts of ArcCorp. They got other areas of ArcCorp that may not be close to Area 18 that you can go ahead and get to, like maybe a dark side or a dark place of ArcCorp, you know, so that you can go ahead and deliver those things to. It's got to be some type of corrupt syndicate area somewhere over there.
Okay. FC?
The prisoner brings up a good point that maybe the guards can be bribed, so that could be a way to get smuggled goods in.
Interesting. They've told us that Wally's, the bartender at Wally's, one of them, is supposed to be like on the dirty side of things, have insider information and stuff. And the question is going to be, which of those multiple bartenders is the one? But I'm wondering if that's where you can get those type of missions as a solo player. You know, you go over there, you ask to buy a drink, but when you ask for a certain drink, maybe there's a different type of menu that pops up. You know, there's all types of things they could do. Yeah.
Or they don't pop up, but a certain, certain type of hour of the day or something like that.
Right.
That you have to calculate.
Right.
Interesting.
Yep, they could do that. Yeah. There's also, they talked about the streets of R-Corp, that there are those dark alleys that you go down, that there are certain areas that there'll be some unscrupulous stuff that's maybe happening in those areas. My biggest question is, how do you, once you get whatever it is, whatever the contraband is, what are you going to do with it? How do you get rid of it? Right now, we dodge the police. We don't want to be scanned if we have something illegal on our ship, if we've got one of the drugs that we shouldn't have. But again, the question becomes, how do you sell it? Where do you sell it? And other than cities, we know there are other locations and other kiosks that you can go to. What did they call those other kiosks back in the day? They're still back in the game now, right? The black market kiosks?
Yeah.
They're back, right? Because they've taken them out for a little bit.
I thought they were the anything goes kiosks. I thought they were at some of
they're back. That's what I'm saying, because they had taken them out at one point, but I know they're back. Okay, I haven't done it in a long time. That's why I'm asking about.
They do have cameras around the city, by the way.
I know.
So it'll be interesting to see when they start actually working.
Yeah. Okay.
And now they did say, they have said in the past that they were going to be adding additional entrances to a lot of the space stations and Lagrange points. Just, other than coming in from a pad.
Right.
There's going to be, EVA entrances and exits. Yeah. For you to be able to facilitate this in particular, which the smuggling piece.
Right. Okay. All right, we're almost there.
Red Baroque, thank you for the follow.
Yes, thank you, Red Baroque. Thank you for that follow. Taxi, touring, and VIP. I didn't get to put VIP on there for this one. Taxi, touring, and VIP. Solo players. This whole thing about them bringing in taxiing, NPC, moving people back and forth. And a lot of times we've talked about ships like the Genesis Starliner for that. But what about, people who just want to get from here to there and they don't want to wait? Is this something that a solo player could do? They literally run their own, Uber service, I guess you could say, in game. I don't know. Fastcart, what do you think?
Yeah, I think an Uber service is quite possible, especially if you have a mission, a VIP mission to take one NPC or maybe like a player-made mission, pick a player from one location to another, and you can, as long as you have like a semi-decent touring ship, maybe like a Phoenix that you can fly by yourself, or something smaller than that. It should be. You're good. You're golden. That's my hope, anyway.
Okay. Gomab?
Well, it was removed from the release view, therefore it's never going to happen.
Oh God!
Sorry.
You had to throw it in, right?
I had to all those crybabies. No, I think I don't know what ship you would use, because I know even the 300 series and 100 series ships, they are single seater ships. Right. So I don't know how you would leverage those ships as taxi ships. I wouldn't, even as a solo player.
I wouldn't, but that's why I have what I have on the screen right now.
You have the 85X.
The 85X, yeah, okay. Because
you know what's good about the 85X? Person can't draw a weapon.
Yep, and it's can't draw a weapon because
if I roll up on you, I'm gonna tell you no weapons on you. Can't have no pistols or no rifles on you, and you can get in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's So I think I think you can do this now. I have been in general and said, hey, I need a lift from this place because I messed around and had 3 vehicles spawned, and I went and claimed one that blew up, but it was apparently my 4th, and I watched my carrot go poop and go away. Right? So now I'm stranded at this Cuban and have no way to fly off. That's why I now own an 85X, just so I can spawn it there. But anyway, I had to get in general to say, hey, I need somebody to give me a ride to the nearest space station. I'll pay you this much money. So it's already, you player led in game, but I think it'll be great once you have it in there for as a PvE mission. And if definitely could make a lot of money on that, depending on how they put it in. Who knows?
And just so you guys,
and also like the
What?
and also like the Gladiator or the Super Hornet, that can be used too. It won't be like luxurious, but
well,
possible.
the problem with using those ships is their range. You only can go so far with the fighters, right? And you don't want to draw something that's going to draw attention to you. If you got a fighter, somebody else wants to go after you because you're in a fighter. The reason why I picked the 85X is because I'm trying to find some value. Remember I said about ships that are designed for something? And this ship, one, and again, I know you guys said about the 300 and the other ships. The problem with those ships is your passengers in the back, they can draw a weapon on you, right? If you're not careful, they can draw a weapon on you. Because they can have a backpack. And even if the weapon's not on them when they get inside, if it's in their backpack, when you're flying, they can go in their backpack, pull it out, and shoot you in the back of the head. As long as they're seated or forced to seat, they cannot do that. So it has to be a ship that keeps them from being able to draw a weapon on you, killing you and taking your ship. And this is like one of the ships that's perfect for that. Okay.
Yeah, it's only one other ship that I can say, but does not have the range.
What's that?
And that's the Hawk.
Yeah. Oh, you gonna throw him? You gonna make him ride in the back? Oh man, that's cold blooded, man.
Hey, just let him lay down, man. I'll let you know when we're there.
That is totally
I got one for you. I got one for you. You can take a whole bunch of people. You can take a whole bunch of people in the Nomad, in the back.
In the back, make them sit outside.
You can sit outside.
That's cold blooded too.
Oh
my God, you guys are brutal. You guys are totally brutal.
Go prone, lay down.
You guys are brutal. Right. Okay. All right.
It's gonna be dark. Don't have claustrophobic. I hope you're not claustrophobic. It'll be all right.
Well, Kelosal just spoke it into existence here. All right. This is a different role. The role of a trafficker. Somebody who is literally moving living beings, whoever the type of beings they are, someone who is trafficking this for the sake of profit. Will there be traffickers in the game? Will there be people? I mean, this is what they're doing specifically is because we know that the Banu in their space do take on what do they call them? They're not slaves, but they're, I can't think of the term that you use. Indentured, well, servitude.
Happy little employees?
Yeah, well, unhappy employees. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think that there'll be people who will be out there kidnapping folks? And
I beg to differ. They're called Solis.
Oh, the Solis. Well, no, but we're talking about they actually do sell people.
Yes.
Sell beings, I should say.
Yes.
Yeah, into servitude.
Mm-hmm.
So, will there be people who will be doing that as a career?
Absolutely. There's people that are doing that in Age of Conan right now. Yeah, every game, every MMO that I've jumped into, I always hear somebody talking about, I'm going to have these types of people. You know, or make these types of people do this. Every game that I jump into. So if that's allowed in the game, remember the Banu said, if you do it well, we're partnership with you. All right, if you're the best at it.
Plague Dealer says, I don't think that that's going to be in the game. We don't know if it's going to be in the game. We know it's in the lore. We know it's in the lore. And I'm just kind of curious because even though this ship has been presented mostly for bounty hunting, I'm also thinking about, will there be somebody who's out there snatching up NPCs or people, and if there's a way to trade them off and sell them, maybe they will.
I said, go ahead.
It's not just limited to people; it's vehicles as well. I mean, there's people talking about stealing people's vehicles and stuff like that. So if you see that right now in game, you can traffic those vehicles and
but you can't traffic. That's a bit much for a solo player to traffic vehicles. So I don't know about that. You need some help with that.
I just hope that when they chop my foot off, I get a cybernetic replacement. That's all.
Is that it? Okay. I'm going to see real quick. There's one other category before we get ready to do our giveaway and stuff. You guys hang around for the giveaway.
Surveillance.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking up now. I'm looking it up right now. I got one more category. I know I did a graphic for it. I just can't believe I didn't put it in here. I'm getting old, y'all. Old and forgetful was. That's the wrong month.
Well, 1 out of 20. I think that's a good ratio.
Is that okay? You know why?
I think that's okay.
The reason why I didn't see it is because it wasn't in the list. What happened to my surveillance picture?
Oh, okay. Rio said, no, Griff, you're just getting less young.
Is that what it is? Okay. Well, there was a picture here that I know I made. Maybe I just didn't save it. I thought it was the very first one I did of surveillance. And I'll put the picture in anyway, and then we'll just talk about it because I have the picture here, but I don't know why I don't have the graphic. Who is that? Penguin 2. Thank you for that follow. Appreciate that.
Thanks for the follow.
We can talk about surveillance, the Terrapin. This gets into the whole thing of information. Terrapin is basically that ship that can go out somewhere, like on this image, is sitting kind of buried in the rocks there where nobody can see it. And it's got a scanning area where it is doing surveillance. I think in its trailer, they showed like there was a fleet of ships that were passing by it and they didn't see the Terrapin, and it ended up taking that as data and information. I know Kelosal referenced this earlier when it came down to being able to sell this type of information and data. This ship's been in the game for a long time. It does have 2 seats in it, similar to with the Herald, where there's the pilot seat and then there's a scanning area in it. What do you guys think? Is this something that somebody would be interested in doing surveillance, or is this something that, they could sell the information, I guess, assuming that the information's reliable, that it's, relevant at the time, it's not old information. What do you guys think about this ship? Go Mob, I'm gonna hit you first on this one. Vengeful, thank you for the resub. We appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
Go Mob.
I was just making sure Wimmer's good.
Yeah, you're good. As long as you see both my hands up here, you're good.
Right. Oh, so it's not. So Griff is like, no. So first of all, Terrapin is a single player ship.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it has 2 seats, it only has 1 bed. Remember that.
True.
And yeah, when the Terrapin first got released, I thought it was really cool because like they were like, yeah, this thing is going to be a freaking rock. It will not be easy to kill by anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have a whole lot of
armor,
whole HP and armor, and it's going to be able to get out of situations. So even if it is detected, it can get up out of there. You can shoot it all you want, but you're not going to be able to kill it. So yeah, I think this they're going to have to find a way to facilitate transfers of cargo, of data, of items between players. Because I see that this ship being able to gain data that can then be transferred into one of the data running ships that can then make the fast run back to safe space in order to transmit it or sell it or give it to who it needs to go to. So,
okay.
But no, I really like the Terrapin and it's in what it's supposed to do. You just gotta, you're kind of this, you're in that unmarked car across the street with the 2 agents in it doing a stakeout with the sunglasses on and think nobody notices 2 people sitting in the car all day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I could definitely see that becoming a cinema.
Yeah. Colossal, Terrapin. Gomab talked about the fact that this thing's supposed to be heavily armored. There was some issue with heat with this ship. I forget what it was about when it opens and closes, but it's got that big radar array on the top of it, right? It is supposed to be a pretty quick ship as well. It's VTOL. Is this ship, will ships like this and the other ships that we've talked about in here before, outside of if you get a mission for them, will they force you to be an entrepreneur? In other words, I bought this ship in order for me to be successful and make money, I've got to interact with players. Or, is it going to be strictly that I got to take missions and that's the way I'm going to make my money as a solo player?
Considering the ship was a former military ship, I see the ship mostly. If people are going to stretch that role to go ahead and do that, fine. I guess. You could do that, but I see this ship mostly for reconnaissance, for any types of movement, fleet movements, and things like that, and so forth and so forth. Just don't take the ship into atmosphere because it's not designed to be as quick in atmosphere as it is in space. It is a heavy ship. A lot of high grade equipment. A lot of people keep asking questions. Well, why not the DIR? Right? So, but the ship has obviously a lot of high tech, especially high grade equipment, including the armor, that makes it a little bit more reliable than the dirt. But I mean, it's I just see it mainly used for reconnaissance, Griff.
Okay.
I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how people go ahead and try to throw it out to go ahead and use data running and make a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
But this ship is going to be really good if you want to try to get out without any without anything but just a scratch. This ship is going to be that.
Okay. FC?
I can see this ship again being another good candidate for monitoring Vandal or their movement. So I can see ID making mission to monitor Vandal space.
Okay. And are you saying those could be solo missions? You're saying basically if solo player could take those type of missions?
Yeah.
Okay. Just tracking something and maybe turning the information in somewhere afterward.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. To the mission giver.
Okay. Very cool. Alrighty. Who's that? Captain Hagbar. Thank you for that follow. We appreciate that. Thank you. Alrighty then. Listen, we are getting ready to do our giveaway, and we want you guys to, first of all, we want to say thank you all. As you guys know, as we mentioned, this is Black History Month, so we're going to do a little bit of a short presentation for you for that. And while we're doing that presentation, you guys can get ready to participate in the giveaway. And the giveaway is, Fastcart, why don't you tell them what they're going to be getting while I'm typing this up? That way I don't have to do two things at once.
Okay, so you'll be getting Soul Citizen gear. You'll be getting a T-shirt. You'll be getting a mug and a mouse pad. So yes, and we will need your shipping address for that though. So if you don't want to share that, you probably shouldn't enter. But if you don't mind, come give it a try.
Absolutely.
And the mouse pad, this just in, the mouse pad is guaranteed to make you a better gamer. So you currently suck right now. You really want to.
This is your time, huh?
Yeah, you really want to enter this game, this thing.
The opinions of GomabATL do not reflect the opinions of Soul Citizen.
It is science. It has been proven by at least 3 people that know doctors.
All right. Well, listen, what you guys have to type in is !Uhura. Uhura, UHURA, ! Uhura, if you want to get into this. We're going to show you guys a quick little video, and then we're going to come back and we'll do the raffle, and then we're going to wrap it up. So let's check it out.
Uhura was an interesting character to me, and I fell in love with her. She'll take no nonsense from anyone, and she is a professional. The character was so strong. People from the South have told me that they were forbidden to watch the show because it was integrated. We would rehearse, and it would be a beautiful scene. And then they'd bring down the rewrites, and I had less to say. What would start out to be a beautiful participation became yes sir, no sir, I can't reach Starfleet Command, sir. There was a scene that changed the face of television forever. We were being forced by these people who had tremendous kinetic powers to do their bidding. And the scene culminated in them forcing Captain Kirk and Lieutenant Uhura to kiss.
You're so busy at your command.
This is a very important episode in both Star Trek history and television history, because in it, Captain Kirk, William Shatner, kisses Lieutenant Uhura. And this is one of the first most famous interracial kisses on TV. And at the time in the 60s, this was considered a very big deal.
It was just a kissing scene.
In today, this was an incredibly controversial thing to show on television. After it aired, everyone waited to see what will the reaction be, will there be any complaints? There were none whatsoever.
I said, well, it's just 2 people like my grandmother and grandfather. He said, what do you mean your grandmother, grandfather? And I said, well, Grandpa was white and Grandma was black.
As fate would have it, I had been invited as a celebrity guest I believe it was NAACP fundraiser. And so I had just sat down at the desk when one of the promoters, organizers came over and said, "Miss Nichols, there's someone who wants to meet you. He says he's your greatest fan." And I'm thinking it's a trekker. So I went to turn around and look straight in the face of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was this beautiful smile on his face. He said, "Uhura is more than just a communications officer. You're a symbol. The work you are doing, you may not know how important it is, but we who are fighting the good fight stop and watch you on Thursday night when you're on." I went everywhere to recruit. I went to universities that had strong science and engineering programs. I was a guest at NORAD, where no civilian had gone before. They were all trekkers. They let me in. At the end of the recruitment, NASA had so many qualified people, highly qualified. They took 6 women, they took 3 African-American men. It was very fulfilling accomplishment for me.
Alrighty. Gomab, did you know all that about Nichelle Nichols? Were you up on that story?
Oh yeah, man. My mama got me into Star Trek, like as a wee lad. And my mother was, she was very similar to that character and the actress.
Okay.
And their personalities, I would say. So
okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I know Fastcart knows about it already. Colossal, were you up on it?
I'm a civics teacher. I showed my kids that several years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I did that a couple years ago.
Awesome.
I'm going to correct Griffin on a little bit. I did not know about the NASA part, but everything else I did know. But now I can't help but imagine Gomab as a wee lad with a smaller body but the same face.
All right. If you guys are up for the giveaway !Uhura, we are going to roll that in just a hot second. We did have a question from one of the viewers, which was, how about an assassin as a solo player? What do you guys think about that? Think that they'll put some we've had them before, assassination missions. What do you think about that?
I don't see much difference between bounty hunting and assassin. I mean, okay, bounty hunting, you can take person in alive, but most time, sometimes it'll be dead or alive. And assassin, you just take them dead.
Yeah. Well, but it's bounty hunting. It's kind of interesting. Bounties are usually put on people because of something that they've done, or they owe money, something along those lines, or somebody, like you said, wants them brought in, something like that. And that can come from a legal source or just some independent private source. But assassination missions are a little bit, it's a little bit different,
That's fair.
Only one end coming to them, right?
Right.
Do you think that they put assassination missions in? What do you think? And would they be for just NPCs or player assassination missions?
I can see NPCs.
I think they'll stay with bounties with players. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think there is currently some terms of service things around
concerns
putting
about
out,
killing.
Yeah, putting bounties like player
on people,
on people. That would encourage.
Murder.
Involuntary piracy. I don't know, griefing.
Okay.
So I don't think that'll be there. Like you said, assassinations are already. So assassinations is just the other side of the non-legal side of the bounty hunting. Right. They say, hey, go. That guy he's breathing too much. Go help. Go help him with that.
Go help him with the problem.
Go help him with that problem. So yeah, that's already in the game through the NPCs, and I don't think we're going to be putting we're going to be allowing players to put out hits, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Put a hit out on someone else. Because that's just not good.
That might be not good. Okay. All right. But there may be NPCs, though, you think? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do this giveaway. We have plenty of people who have signed up for this giveaway. Going to give us who wants to get, let's see, fastcart, give us a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we will punch it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact.
Wow. Citizens are.
Hey, congrats.
Are you still out there somewhere, Citizens are? I hope you are.
Yeah, he's there. I just saw it there.
Okay. All right. Citizens are. Congratulations. You get a Soul Citizens shirt, a Soul Citizens mug, and a Soul Citizens mouse pad. So you are sold out totally. So please, if you would, send in our DM your information where you would like for us to mail it, and your shirt size, please. Your shirt size as well. Or you can send it to soulcitizens@gmail.com, and I will get it, and we will get that out to you ASAP. We already had one on Thursday that we've gotten out, and we're starting with another one today. So congratulations for that.
Oh, John, there should be a link down below on Twitch for merchandise. So check out that link.
Yep, absolutely.
And I promise this time he's not going to give it to me.
Oh, he's the one that won the.
He's the one.
I don't know if you heard the whole time. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Something was a little shady last time. If you remember, it was all a little shady.
Hey, look, I had nothing to do with this.
A little shady.
Oh, go ahead. I'll just say for another example of solo play, maybe like the bookie, like for gambling and stuff like that. And people don't pay up. They could hire knee breakers, and knee breakers can be another solo gameplay game loop. So hey,
knee breakers.
It's violent today.
Oh my goodness.
Violent.
Oh god. Okay.
We have to hire little kids to be numbers runners. So we're gonna take this to old school Chicago.
Might as well go all the way, huh? Might as well go all the way if we're gonna go.
Gomab. Those are gonna be ankle biters.
Oh, God. All right. Well, listen, we are going to wrap up the show for this week. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. As you guys know, on Thursday nights we do our Thursday evening show, Soul Talk, which is our community talk show, which Fastcart hosts. And many people from our team and folks from the community sit in on each week. We have a great time talking about, in particular, inside Star Citizen and all that's going on in the Star Citizen universe. And next week, we are going to be on a show called The Last Starship That You Would Not Fly. We're going to be talking about what are the ships in Star Citizen that you absolutely either have in your melt and you are never going to unmelt, or that you just don't like flying in Star Citizen. And so I'm sure that there are people on the Soul team who have their favorite ships that they just can't stand, or they have buyer's remorse on. So we're going to talk about, and why, what is it about those ships that just, they just don't grab us, right? So we're going to be talking about that on next week as well. Okay.
Sneak peek. It's called Inferior. Inferno.
Oh, did he?
Wow.
That wasn't even across the ship.
For real. Oh my God. That's crazy. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's, we're going to be doing our raid tonight with Uber Nerd. Did I forget anything? Did we cover everything, guys? I think we did. Right?
All right. We didn't give a quote yet from Black History Month.
Do you have one?
I do have one for the late, great Mary McLeod Bethune, resident of South Carolina, born in South Carolina, resident of Daytona Beach, Florida, my hometown.
All right, what's the quote?
She says, "We have a powerful potential in our youth, and we must have the courage to change old ideas and practices so that we may direct their power toward good ends." So always invest in your kids, guys.
All right. Coming from a school teacher. That's some good words. Awesome sauce. Awesome sauce. All righty. Well, again, I want to thank everybody who's here today. Thank you, fastcart. Thank you, GoMob. Thank you, Griffin Gaming RPG. Thank you, Kelosal. Thank you, Admiral Kusanagi, who's out there monitoring things for us. I'm not sure if Ops Chief is out there, but Ops Chief, if you are, thank you so much as well for those are 2 mods. Thank all of you all for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you, Captain Hagbard, for the follow. And we appreciate
everyone else who followed and subscribed tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We truly, truly appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Until then, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And as we always tell you guys each week, peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys real soon. Take care of yourselves.